Hello everybody, I have proof that Britain's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, and the entirety of her new Conservative government are all completely 100% woke. Yes, I'm recording this just after Liz Truss has made her announcement about how to tackle high energy costs and, sorry, one second, someone's just handing me a piece of paper here. Oh dear. Apparently, Her Majesty the Queen is very seriously ill, and they're saying prepare for the worst. Well, that's great fucking timing, isn't it? I'm making this video in a rush right now because I'm on holiday for the next 2 weeks as of this weekend. And we're told constantly in this country that if the Queen dies, we're going to get an extra bank holiday or an extra day off or like a day of mourning. But if she dies in the next 2 weeks, I'm unlikely to benefit from that, aren't I? So excuse me for 1 minute whilst I get very angry and turn into a gammon and say I hope she holds on till October. Come on, Liz, you can do it. Stay with us. Now, I posted a version of that joke on Twitter in the replies of Nigel Farage and Darren Grimes and people like that. And wouldn't you know it, some people got very upset at me. They told me to shut up and say things like, how dare you, right? It's remarkable that the free speech is important people who say offensive comedy shouldn't be cancelled at any time. You should be able to say whatever you want. They are the first people to come up to you and tell you to be quiet when you make a joke about a subject or a person that they actually like. This, of course, links us nicely back to Liz Truss and her gammon supporters who went mad when the comedian Joe Lycett acted just like they do on a political talk show. Daily Mail got particularly angry. Now BBC comic mocks Liz Truss. And, you know, made the usual arguments about how the BBC isn't impartial or it's one-sided or biased or whatever, you know. Which is weird, because the comedian was doing an impression of right-wing people. He was being what they are, and yet somehow that stops it being impartial. Free speech should be protected at all times, unless it's done in a sarcastic way that makes us really sad. Since Joe Lycett's appearance, Liz Truss has complained about Joe Lycett's comedy, the big woke bitch. God, why she's such a snowflake. And there have been panels assembled talking to the head of the BBC, asking him what the fuck is going on. This guy here is Steve Brine. He's asking the head of the BBC if it's appropriate that a comedian should hold a politician to account in the way that Joe Lycett did, using comedy. And the answer, I think we'll all agree, is no. No, it should not be allowed. What should happen is a presenter of a news programme or a political correspondent or like some kind of fucking political expert should say and hold that person, you know, to account and say to him, look, we've had this guy lying to our faces for 3 years with no pushback. How about you don't do the same fucking thing? But they never do. So Joe Lycett came along and just by acting out a sort of gammony position angered all the gammon. It's hilarious. Steve Brine also asked, why is Gary Lineker allowed to use a platform such as Twitter, which is not controlled by the BBC in any way, to say stuff like, really damaging stuff like, well, we shouldn't be dumping sewage onto our beaches and into our seas because that seems very wrong to me, guys. Maybe sort it out. How dare he? What a jug-eared bastard he is. I'm offended by humans saying words. And I literally have to follow that up by asking, why hasn't he been cancelled yet? Steve Brine is also woke. It's weird that the right don't accuse, they love accusing of supporting cancel culture, the left wing. So they accuse the left of loving cancel culture with very little evidence behind that. But they never follow it up by saying it's quite a fascistic thing to do, the left. And there's a few reasons why they don't accuse others of being a fascist. I mean, some of the obvious ones is that a lot of people who say you love cancel culture are quite, you know, they don't like a lot of brown people, maybe have some very backwards views of the gays, you know, really quite weird about immigration and so forth. And to call someone else a fascist is, you know, even they are not that stupid. Well, some of them are too. Anyway, because, you know, that's exactly what silencing someone is. It's a fascist move, isn't it? You know, I will not allow you to criticise the government or politics in any way. It's quite a fascist thing to say, you know? Anyway, what is woke? What does the word woke mean? Well, of course, it's changed over the last few years. It did used to mean I'm awake to injustice, and I'm awake to the lack of social justice in the world. And now it's generally been adopted by the right, and especially the far right, and it's become so meaningless. Well, it's meaningless, but it's used by them every single day in place of any argument whatsoever. And it's used to dismiss anything and everything they deem to be mostly left-wing, stuff they don't agree with, basically. I asked Twitter what the definition of woke was, and I asked it specifically in gammon circles, like the replies of Nigel Farage, and I had several different definitions of woke, none of which linked up together. They all were very, very different definitions. And one guy particularly shouted at me one particular definition, and then he subsequently blocked me, so I'm afraid I don't have any screenshots for you. He claimed that making the Marvel character Iceman gay after 60 years of him not being gay in the comics, right, is woke, and as a topper, also the leftist agenda. I asked him what the leftist agenda means, and he didn't really have a lot of answers to that. He just kept saying those two words over and over again. But eventually, after about 5 fucking million hours, he did sort of say, well, it's because, say that some of the characters that used to be white are now black, and some of them who are straight are now gay. And it's the leftist agenda. And I say, well, what's the purpose of this agenda? And he couldn't, he just had nothing. But the slightly bigger issue here about Iceman being gay is how come a man over the age of 60 hasn't aged in any of that time? That's quite weird, isn't it? And more importantly, does he ejaculate ice cubes? Because if that is so, it can't be pleasant for the man that he is bumming. Unless that man is Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. That might be quite pleasant, actually. It's the leftist agenda to do things like having gay characters or making characters who were white once not white. Yeah, nothing racist or weird about that reaction at all, especially when you consider many non-white actors do a perfectly good job at acting as if they're almost as good as white actors. But that's never really taken into account, is it? I'm sure Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, traditionally Nick Fury, a white role, would have something to say about all of that. You weirdo. And it's weird they never mention him in their rants either. It's almost like because he was in a popular movie and he's a really good actor, they don't have a fucking leg to stand on. So I expect angry losers like the Iceman hater will be equally as mad about the party, the political party they usually vote for, becoming completely woke. Right? The government is woke. No white men in leading positions in the cabinet, a lady leader, and they get upset at every piece of criticism that comes their way. They are woke. They are woke. They are woke. They are woke. Liz Truss is woke. She's a former Lib Dem. She voted Remain. She's woke. All it took was a very large donation to Liz Truss from BP, British Petroleum, to convince her that her energy plan should mostly just protect the energy firms and all the profits they've made. Yeah, proving that woke lepers don't actually change their spots unless it's for enormous amounts of money or power. That I can prove that in other areas as well. The exact same model happened to Darren Grimes. I know I take the piss out of him a lot because it's easy. He was once a Lib Dem as well, just like Liz Truss, and now he makes epic amounts of money by just keeping gammon angry 24/7. But Liz Truss is still woke. She's created this £100 billion energy bill handout, essentially, announced today, just a couple of hours ago, paid for initially by borrowing, and I've got to say, all that free money thrown at poor people is a very socialist move. How very woke of you, Liz. How very woke. In all seriousness, this Prime Minister, she's only been in power for, what, 3 days, something like that? She has made the job so easy for the opposition, for Labour, right? Liz Truss will be raising taxes, despite her saying she's never going to do that. She has to raise taxes to cover her energy plan, right? This is going to be either via the extra amount of money in the future the public have to pay through their energy bills to cover the £100 billion, or through a tax which has the same fucking function, like an energy poll tax. For a fucking decade, we'll have to pay this back, right? Whilst energy companies keep £170 billion in profit that they never expected to make just because this war came along and they're like, fucking give me all this fucking free money, you know? All Labour need to do is call these repayments the Truss tax, and it will damage her greatly from the first fucking week she's Prime Minister till the day she's kicked out. But still, we could be cold this winter, and now we're no longer cold. We're warm, but still quite poor. The fact that the Tories have to protect the interests of people who fucking hate us, who profit from us, is a huge own goal, right? Because when Liz Truss calls the next general election, all Labour needs to do is say, you know that £100 billion that you guys have to pay back? Well, we're just going to take that directly from the energy companies as a windfall tax and save you about £3,000 to £4,000. What's that? Yes, you can kiss me. Go ahead. Go on. The vast majority of the front benches of the Conservative Party under Liz Truss are like a woke-like mix of brown-skinned people and vagina-owning humans. That's very, very woke indeed. Now, Theresa Coffey, this woman here, looks like a female version of Steve Bannon, in my opinion. Liz Truss must have, admittedly, quite a well-hidden sense of humour to put someone who looks like they're dying in charge of health, right? Just imagine the uproar if Labour did exactly the same thing. And I'm specifically talking about Diane Abbott being made Health Secretary. If you think this joke, if you're offended by that joke I just made about Theresa Coffey, the fact she basically is unhealthy looking, right? If you're offended by that joke, like you were offended by the other joke, not only are you a snowflake, but also you would be a hypocrite if Diane Abbott was in that situation, or indeed any fat or unhealthy looking Labour person was in that position. The same jokes will be made and you'll be like, well, I can say whatever I want. Free speech, yeah? Now, if you're right-wing or a right-wing grifter, a propagandist, there are two ways of looking at this multiracial and female-led or female-heavy, no offence, Theresa Coffey, government that Liz Truss has made, this woke government, right? Option number one, you can either ignore the entirety of the past, everything that's ever happened in British politics on the Conservative side, which historically most government posts were taken exclusively by white men. You can ignore that and then quietly or quite loudly, depending on what kind of grifter you are, you can celebrate the diversity of the government whilst ignoring that you hate diversity. You really fucking hate it. I hope no one noticed that hypocrisy whatsoever, right? You can say things like, well, at least they're there by merit rather than a diversity box-ticking exercise, which of course is bollocks, isn't it? Because as Joe Lycett correctly pointed out, these are the dregs of the Conservative Party. These are people the public have never heard of and would never have seen in their lives if it wasn't for their appointment to government by Liz Truss, okay? We're also seeing them because Liz Truss, these particular people, we're also seeing these particular people because Liz Truss purged the cabinet of all those people close to former corrupt Prime Minister Boris Johnson due to them all being tainted by his corruption and ineptitude. And just to make her own life fucking harder, she also purged other well-known members of the cabinet who were loyal to Rishi Sunak, her rival for the leadership. So she's left with fuck all, people we've never fucking heard of, and gone, well, it's diverse because that's all I had left. Otherwise, those diverse people would have stayed in the fucking background forever. How diverse, how woke. Now, I've got to warn you, a very arguably slightly tenuous analogy is coming up here. I'll let you be the judge of that. This is not a meritocracy, this diverse government, Liz Truss. It's just a bunch of substitute teachers being asked to cover for the full-timers for a little bit longer than they expected, right? Because the usual full-time teachers had a unique and peculiar problem, right? Where they would keep coming into class and defecating all over the students and the desks and the books and the resources and like everything. Everything was tainted by their shit, right? And they refused to clean the mess up themselves, right? And there wasn't enough 0-hour cleaners from foreign lands to come and clean up their mess because the teachers told them all to go back to where they came from. But don't worry, substitute teachers. You'll only have to cover their shit-stained position until you lose a general election in about 2 years. Anyway, welcome to the job and do not ask for a pay rise. Option number 2 of how to handle a multiracial, multi-female Conservative Party, woke Conservative Party, if you're a grifter, is by being a racist and misogynist, aka business as fucking usual. Here's a clip from Paul Joseph Watson's new 2-minute long video.
For the first time in British history, no great office of state will be held by a white man. Liz Truss's new Conservative government contains no white man in a prominent cabinet position. Ha! Take that, leftists! Who are the real racists now? Following on from the Times, the Telegraph became the latest newspaper to commend this as a boon for diversity. Diversity that's not quite diverse enough to include white men. In Britain, where the population is 87% white. Yeah, not that kind of diversity. Liz?
It's quite amazing that Paul Joseph Watson even exists if the population of the UK is 87% white. With such a huge percentage of white people in the country, immigration is barely going to make a dent on that figure, isn't it? We've had immigration for fucking decades and we're still almost at 90% white in this country, right? It's not going to make an impact on skin colour whatsoever. It hasn't made an impact, right? It's almost as if Paul Joseph Watson is employed to make you scared of literally everything, even though there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. I mean, surely no one can do something like that. Okay, maybe he's got form and his friends as well.
This is the woman who has been picked to become Health Secretary. Now, I'm not trying to be mean. Everyone at some point in their life has struggled with weight gain. But not everyone gets to become the Health Secretary. It seems to be a common theme. Belgium previously appointed a 20-stone woman as Health Minister.
Jesus Christ, if Paul Joseph Watson is making the same jokes as me, albeit slightly poorer, maybe it's time for me to put my joke book in the bin. Oh, fuck me, I need a holiday. And ideally, a Queen Death Day to follow up that holiday. So stay with us, Your Highness. Stay with us. Hold on. Ideally, until the World Cup in mid-November, maybe early December. You can do it, Queen. You can do it, Liz. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. That is why satire and comedy, political comedy, is very important. If you've enjoyed this, then you are a left-wing, skanky, smelly, possibly woke, absolute snowflake arsehole. If you've hated this, then you're a snowflake arsehole, woke, smelly, fucking arsehole twat. So basically everyone's the same, is what I'm saying. So, do subscribe, do share this video on social media, whether you like it or hate it. It's a very small channel, could do use with all your help. Just simply press the share button down there somewhere, and you can even write a little blurb along with your tweet as well. I like this video, this was great. This guy presented it is very attractive, or alternatively, I hated this video. This guy looks like Teresa Coffey. I hope he dies like she will soon. That kind of stuff, it's fine, it's fine. If you really, really love this video, then you can contribute to my Patreon if you want. If you go there and put £1 per month, you get access to a bunch of bonus content, which I may add to in the future. But the much easier and more preferred way is if you pop £1 or $1 into my PayPal account. Links are below in the description box. And cost of living crisis, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. We have to pay back this bill. Do help out if you can. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. There's more videos about gammon than you can shake a gammony, smelly stick at on my channel. The playlist is above you. There's a few examples. So do check out some of those. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and laters, betas. Ciao.